Well, welcome to everyone joining us from around the world. Welcome to our Gold Learning online education. I'm Fiona Lang-Sharpe, IBCLC, Director of Communications, and one of the MCs here at Gold Learning. So, welcome today. You can see we have some very special guests who are joining us here today. We've got Fleur Bickford. She is our Director of Education Programming. Laurel Wilson, she's our Education Manager. And Cynthia Good, our Program Chair of Gold Lactation Online Conference 2021. Now, we'll be chatting with them in just a moment here, but I do want to run through some of the amazing highlights that we have coming up here at our Gold Lactation Online Conference for 2021. This year, we're going to be celebrating our 15th year, which means that we'll be reaching over 90 countries from around the world and with over 4,000 delegates attending. We have over 25 speakers joining us this year, offering a full spectrum of education, including our current research, clinical skills, workshops, and of course, all we'll be learning in the field of lactation. Now, we have some very unique learning for you again this year, including our interactive sessions, which we'll be talking about just shortly. You'll be able to watch the recordings at your own pace, of course, anywhere in the world with an internet connection. And everything is fully accredited for your needs. So if you need CERPs or other CEUs for physicians, nurses, midwives, doulas, dietitians, and students, and of course, many more other professionals as well. Now, registration is open right now, so you can go to our website at goldlactation.com and register and get all the details of our entire program. This year, we'll have our opening keynote on March 29th, and I can't wait for you to join us on that day. That is going to be free and open access to everyone around the world, and I know that you're not going to want to miss this particular presentation. It will be presented by Nikisha Killings, titled Approaching Care When You're Barely There. Reimagining empathy when you've got nothing left to give. Now, if that title doesn't inspire you right now, I encourage you to go to our website and check it out. Read through that abstract and, of course, look at Nikisha's bio. She is so excited to be presenting on this particular topic. Now, without any further ado, allow me to introduce our very special guests here today. So I'd like to introduce to you Cynthia Good. She is an IBCLC, a psychotherapist specializing in perinatal mental health and lactation psychology, internationally recognized speaker and author who is passionate about lactation education. And Cynthia is our program chair for Gold Lactation. We also have Laurel Wilson, who is a TEDx and international speaker, pregnancy and breastfeeding specialist, consultant, educator, and author, and now is our Gold Learning Education Manager. We also have Fleur Bickford, who has an extensive background in perinatal health and is a registered nurse and international board-certified lactation consultant. Fleur has clinical experience in perinatal care combined with her professional experiences with educating both families and healthcare professionals, which lends themselves well to her role here as our Director of Educational Programming. Without any further ado, let's get started with a sit-down chat with our three special guests today. Now, I have some questions here that I'm ready to engage with all of you about. But let me just say this here. There really has been a growing need for lactation professionals to have continuing education from a diverse group of speakers from around the world. Gold Lactation has designed a unique conference highlighting a broad range of these topics and speakers. So my question really is, what are the advantages does this give our delegates this year? Now, I'm going to call upon you first, Cynthia, to just chat a little bit about what these advantages might be for our delegates.
Thank you so much for that question. Among the compelling reasons to attend Gold is how we're all dealing with a whole new world here with the pandemic. Parents are facing new challenges that they've never faced before, on top of all the usual challenges. And those new challenges really make the whole lactation adventure that much more difficult. Families are coping with isolation. They don't have the kind of support at home that they would be normally accessing because of restrictions and people coming together. They can't get everybody over to roll up their sleeves and help out. There's increased stress. There's financial insecurity. Folks may be worried about losing their job or have already
Mm,
left their job, because of, shutdowns from the pandemic. There's increased worry about health and safety at a time where we're already vulnerable, and we would naturally be worried about health and safety as we're taking care of this brand new baby. Um, and then how do we access the support that we need? How do we dive into the world of virtual care when we're seeking lactation support? And of course, the flip side is, how do we lactation supporters in whatever setting meet all of these
mm.
complex needs, provide that care when we may not be able to be there in person, and take into account the complexity and the just dramatically increased challenge in the context of the families that we're serving.
Yeah, thank you so much just for highlighting that. It's so important that we're, thinking these things through and how the full impact is happening with our clients. Now, I know, Laurel, you had some things to share about the programming, and some of the advantages for the delegates, and this sort of ties in really well. Can you share a little bit about what's happening here at Gold this year as well?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Fiona. Just to kind of segue on top of what Cynthia had talked about, we are all in the midst of a pandemic right now. And so one of the things that we really decided to focus on this year is making sure that we're bringing in some topics that will address how we both individually and kind of as an entire field are dealing with the pandemic. And we're so excited to bring Nikisha Killings in for our keynote talk, and that is open access to everyone. And she's going to be talking about approaching care when you're barely there, reimagining empathy when you've got nothing left to give, because I think so many of us really are in that space where we just feel exhausted. And how do you show up with your families to provide them the care that they need when they are also feeling exhausted? We're also going to hear from Carlene Gribble about guidance for maternal and newborn care, about what everyone's doing around the world. And then we'll also be hearing from Naomi Hull about the importance of peer counseling during COVID.
Well, thank you, Laurel, so much for sharing some of those highlights with us as well. Now, Fleur, you had some things to share a little bit about some of the things that have been new for us and that have been happening at Gold Lactation. Can you share some of those things, please?
Yeah, thanks, Fiona. I think one of the interesting things about the pandemic is, on top of everything that Cynthia and Laurel have already highlighted, the pandemic has really highlighted the need for us to stay really up to date. There was a need, obviously, with the pandemic to shift very quickly to change practices, and those practitioners who were already kind of on that leading edge were able to shift and make that transition to virtual support much more easily. That was something that it was there, we were starting to see it just before the pandemic. It was one of those emerging topics, and those people that had been kind of staying up to date and were ready to go with that were able to make that transition much faster. And I think that that really highlights the need for us to stay up to date with the new developments. And within the lactation field, there is a very rapid pace of research. So there are new things coming into the field all the time. So one of the things, along with highlighting the important aspects of care during a pandemic that we will be bringing our delegates, is a lot of that new research. So we'll have some highlights on the pandemic, but then we're also going to have lots of really interesting new research, some really great engaging presentations to help keep everybody really up to date with that new research that's going on in the field.
Wonderful. Well, I know that I'm so excited to hear what folks have to share. and talk about some excitement that we have here at Gold Lactation, backed by popular demand, of course, our interactive sessions. Now, we have a lot of interaction happening overall, but we will be highlighting some of our interactive sessions here as well. So we also have, of course, many of our speakers on video as well. Now, Laurel, I have a question for you about this. How do these presentations that we have that are interactive really optimize the learning of the attendee at the conference?
Well, one of the things that is a challenge when you're learning in a virtual setting is that sometimes you feel like you can't just be there, interact, and have kinesthetic action going on. And this year, we are bringing in interactive opportunity. So one that I'd love to highlight is the interactive case review prioritization of care. And this is going to be shared by Annette Leary. And she is going to be bringing us in to kind of share our thoughts and feelings. She's going to help us to kind of hone in on how we use our critical thinking skills, as well as how we employ mindfulness strategies. I love that. I love when you bring kind of like mind, body, spirit into how we work together. But one of the things that she will be bringing into kind of the end of her talk is an opportunity for everyone to triage specific cases, to rank interventions, and also to create a collaborative discipline list. So excited about that.
Yeah, there's always so much to be learned when we're doing case studies. I feel like it's a really great way to collaborate as a team. And so, as part of that interactive session, of course, we'll all be online together and be able to share some of our experiences as well. Now, Cynthia, you had highlighted another presentation that you really wanted to share about. And I thought that this was just poignant based on some of the things that you do in the community as well. Would you like to share about that?
Well, it's really a group of presentations. We're we're increasingly recognizing, um, you know, we've all always had diversity in our world, diversity in our communities, but we're increasingly recognizing that there are entire frames of mind and skill sets and knowledge bases that are critical to working effectively within that diversity, including, what's going on with me, what am I bringing to my interactions, what's going on with the person in front of me, the need for diversification of our field so that we have truly culturally competent care for community from a community. And so, the program this year, we're bringing in speakers from around the world that speak on topics that are important and also bring perspectives that we might not have thought of because we're always grounded in our own culture. And we're looking at the diversity within families. How do you tap into the support that's available to lactating parents? We're looking at the power of peer counseling. What role does that play, and how can we use that to improve outcomes in lactation? We're looking at families with multiples. I mean, there's so many presentations that are somehow addressing, the diversity that we work with, whatever setting that we're in and whatever role that we have as a lactation supporter. So I love kind of this broad casting of the net, that we're trying to help everyone learn things they didn't know that will
Mhm.
help us improve the quality of our care.
That's wonderful. And Fleur, you had some things to share about the interactive sessions that we were doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cynthia just mentioned breastfeeding multiples, and that is one of the interactive sessions that we are going to have with Catherine Stagg, and really looking forward to her presentation. She's going to be doing a workshop for us, which is really exciting. We did this last year, and we're very excited to bring it back this year, because it is the type of presentation where even online, we're able to bring in some of those hands-on skills. This is going to be the type of presentation where you bring your pillows and dolls and practice along with Catherine as she's demonstrating techniques and tips and tricks for working with twins and triplets, which is not necessarily something that a lot of us have had a lot of practice with, but it's important for us to have those skills. And I think the other thing too, along with our ability to be hands-on with the workshops, we also have another workshop with Sajal that's going to be really exciting as well. And it also gives us some more tools for when we are working virtually with clients. So along with our learning about the actual topic of the interactive session, we're also gaining some insight into how we can work virtually with parents, which I love as well. And of course, I don't want to forget to mention our last interactive session, which is Ask the Expert with Liz Brooks, and she's going to be talking about ethics. And of course, she is always such a dynamic speaker and can't wait to have that Q&A session with Liz. So really excited for our interactive sessions this year.
Absolutely. And as Laurel mentioned at the top of the hour, it just really lends to the fact that for different learning styles and ability to get online and collaborate. But don't forget that all of these sessions will be recorded for your convenience as well. Now, wrapping things up here, I sort of gave you a little bit of a challenge at the last part of our segment here today, was just to choose one highlight. And I don't know, was this hard? I'm not sure. But Cynthia, I'm going to put you on the spot first, just to talk about what are some of the highlights that the delegates should look forward to, and of course, some of the things that you love too.
Well, speaking of Liz Brooks, I'm very excited about her session. Ethics is one of those topics that is really complex and that makes it difficult for us to build the kind of knowledge base and skill base that we truly need to work ethically, in our whatever our setting is. And we want to do right by our clients, and of course that comes with like what kind of clinical care are we providing, but there's also ways that we need to do right by our clients or ourselves or our profession that relate to ethics. And so this session with Liz, it's a priceless opportunity to hear from such an expert, and then also be able to actually ask your own questions. So you're guaranteed to walk away from this session with applicable ethical content, for whatever challenging ethical dilemma you might be encountering in your setting. So that's I'm really excited about that opportunity for everyone.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, those are really some of the challenges that we face, because they're harder to reach. And I know with a dynamic teacher, though, it makes it that much easier to really retain and understand the information for sure. And I also gave this challenge to Laurel. And I know, Laurel, you've been working so closely on this entire program. Were you actually able to pick out something that, you saw as a highlight for yourself, or what you want to share with the delegates today?
Yes, thank you, Fiona. One of the things is highlighting some of the add-ons that we have brought into this conference, and the add-on translating knowledge into practice, creating effective care plans. We're offering an additional 6 LSERPs for this particular add-on. But this add-on is really for those who are wanting to improve their care plan skills, but also for those who are newly entering the lactation field. We want them to have a foundation for what they're going to experience when they're out there in practice. So we will be offering sessions from everything that deals with digestive health concerns to mastitis to sucking issues, putting a plan in place for pumping, and babies with slow or no weight gain. And one of the great things is that we really are bringing in some very experienced practitioners to share their tips and tricks with us, from Melissa Cole, Carolina Ochoa, Patricia Diaz, Maxine Scringer-Wilkes, Barbara Robertson, and Lisa Leahy. So we're here to help you take your practice to the next level.
Well, thank you so much for just talking a little bit about the add-on package there. Cynthia, I believe too, you were wanting to talk and share a little bit about one of the other add-on packages. Would you like to share on that?
We have a really important add-on package that's called Lactation and Adversity, Addressing Challenges with Confidence. This is such an important add-on, and I'm really glad that we were able to create this year at GOLD. So much of the education that is available to lactation supporters relates to kind of the strong base we need for what's to be expected, right? The ordinary situations, the things everybody needs to know to support lactating families. This add-on really focuses on beyond that, beyond those garden variety situations, um, where we don't even know what we don't know. And we don't know when we might encounter a family that is really struggling with something that is beyond that basic level, as important as that basic level is. So this add-on will allow learners to confidently help families as they're navigating lactation in some truly difficult contexts, such as child sexual abuse and trauma and gender dysphoria, strong negative emotions about lactation, serious illness in a nursling, even expecting the death of a nursling. So the families that you serve in the future, that they needed you to know these things and you knew them, they will be forever grateful that you were able to help them rise to these extraordinary challenges that they were facing.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing on that particular add-on. I think that this is just going to perhaps even, I was talking earlier about sort of that introspective, viewpoint as well. Some of us as professionals have also had some hurt and real life experiences that have been challenging to us. And when we haven't, we do need to learn from others. And I think that this add-on package is going to be so supportive of both those cases. So I'm really looking forward to being challenged myself as a professional. Now, as we wrap things up here today, thank you to all of you for joining us. Fleur, I know you just wanted to lend the last few words here just to some of the things that are happening here as well at Gold Lactation.
Yeah, thanks so much, Fiona. So I just wanted to add in that along with the two add-on packages that Laurel and Cynthia mentioned, we will also have our essential lactation or essential communication skills for lactation professionals will be available as our other add-on package during the conference, which is really important as that is, of course, a new requirement with IBCLC for people that are just coming into the profession to have those communication skills. But of course, it's also really important for anyone in the profession to have that continuing education because communication skills are, of course, always important. And in general, I'm just really excited about our program this year. We have such a great mix of updates to fundamental skills where even advanced providers can learn about the new thoughts and new research in those fundamental areas. And then we have some really interesting new research. We have a lot of kind of immunology, endocrinology within this program, which I know people have really been asking us for. So we were happy to include that this year. And the other thing that I really am excited about with this program is there are presentations to challenge us. And I think that that is really important for us as we in the profession, move through our professional lives. It's important for us to challenge our own biases, to, look at, are we actually doing the right thing? And we do have a great presentation this year with Tom Johnson, who's going to be talking about some of our common practices and do we actually have the evidence base to back up those practices, which I think is going to be really interesting. And I think that challenging ourselves to grow is always a really important part of what we do as professionals. And then, of course, on top of that, I'm just really looking forward to the amazing sense of community and connection that we always have with the Lactation Conference. It's amazing to be online with so many other professionals from around the world. And of course, we always have a lot of fun. So really looking forward to the conference this year and looking forward to seeing everyone online.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, when you were talking about community there, I would say that, we have created such a wonderful community here amongst the four of us, but I can't wait to expand that and grow that with so many of you. It's always a delight to get online and collaborate, because at the end of the day, we're all here learning together, and I can't wait to see so many of you online. So thank you so much to Cynthia and Laurel and Fleur for joining me here today. I can't wait to hear from all of you as well. You can make comments down below right now. Tell us about what you're excited about in this conference. I want you to go to the website right now, goldlactation.com. You can look at everything that's coming up, some of the timelines, the dates, the different schedules, the add-on packages that I know you're going to want to see. And of course, register for our keynote presentation, which is going to be free and open access and available. And it's going to be important for so many of our healthcare professionals around the world. That's going to be on March 30th. Thank you so much to all of you joining us here today at Gold Lactation and Gold Learning. And we'll say bye-bye for now, everyone.